I want to tell you about my aha moment. And it wasn't loud, it wasn't dramatic, it was just a regular morning. And I woke up with a feeling some months after I had taken a trip to Italy. It wasn't a plan that spoke to me, it wasn't a decision, just a feeling. And it said, you have something to say. And I just woke up and I knew. I had initially thought I'd write a book because that's what our generation did when we had something to say. We wrote books. But I wondered about the podcast thing because I had heard about it, never listened to one, and didn't know anything about it. So I decided to launch one. But let's back up a little. At 68, last summer, I went to Italy alone, which I hadn't done for a long time, to a yoga retreat. And I don't do yoga. I was terrified of traveling alone and excited at the same time because those two feelings can happen at the same time. They're not separate. You know it, that particular combination of being scared out of your mind but wanting to do something so badly. And somewhere in Italy, I felt lighter. Now, it wasn't my eat, pray, love. It was my eat, pray, eat. Eat, pray, eat. But I felt steady. Steady, that was the word that I would use to describe it. So it was a wonderful trip, and I flew home. But before my aha moment, I need to tell you about a voice, and it is a voice you'll all recognize. It doesn't announce itself to you, it doesn't argue with you, it just assumes one thing: too old. Not said out loud, never said out loud, just assumed by the world, by the folks close to you, and sometimes by yourself. And that voice I had to reclaim for myself. So I decided to make a podcast about a generation I knew everything about, I hope, or still to learn, in a medium I knew nothing about. What could possibly go wrong? And then I felt the gap between the vision in my head and what I could accomplish on any given morning. That gap is humbling in a way that's difficult to describe. Because when you have decades of professional experience and competence, and you've led organizations and developed teams and sat in boardrooms and made things happen, then you take on something and you're a beginner. At 68, and not a charming beginner, not a spunky underdog beginner, just a beginner. I had just started using Kindle a few years ago, and that was enough of a leap for a decade. I tell you, because I love books. So I was now trying to figure out recording equipment, editing software, distribution platforms, RSS feeds. Isn't this great? I know it all. And what DAW is. Is that right for the podcasters? DAW, or do you say DAW? Oh, good. You don't know. Like, anyways, people thought I should know what I was talking about. So I feel so much better now. That voice in my head had a field day. But then so did I. Because the gap felt terrifying and exciting both at the same time. Like my trip to Italy alone. Then my sons, 45 and 43, I told them I was going to launch a podcast. Now, these are the people who had watched me build things, change things, make change happen. They knew what I was capable of. They loved me. And they looked at what I was building, or what I wanted to build, and they said, "Do you know anything about podcasts?" And then they said, "You know, it takes really good content to make one." And then the big question, why? Now, this isn't skepticism from strangers. These are the people who love you the most. They couldn't see it yet, and I get it. But the voice, I realized something at that moment, that the voice outside is always louder than the voice inside, until you decide that it isn't. So I kept going, not because I was certain and not because I had anything to prove, but because the wanting of it was so much louder than anything else. And then one of my guests on my podcast said something I will never forget. She had been diagnosed with cancer, and she called it the lightning bolt. And then she said, "You know, Cheryl, when lightning hits sand, it turns it into beautiful crystals." Now, she wasn't talking, I don't think, about surviving cancer, and she wasn't talking about beating it. She was talking about what that lightning bolt had made her. Something rare, something permanent. That's what my aha moment made me. It was that moment, that feeling, not the podcast, but that feeling. I was the woman who refused to let the voice win. It just took a trip to Italy to remember it again, and lots of pasta. My podcast is called The Boomers Revolt. And I picked Revolt, because that's the right word. It's not a revolution, it is a revolt. The quiet, daily, stubborn refusal to accept the story we had been handed for generations. The refusal to be done when you're not done. The refusal to be small when your vision is big. The refusal to apologize for wanting something and then saying it out loud. I went to Italy alone at 68. I came home, and this was last summer. I came home, built something from scratch in 6 months, from idea to fruition, in a medium I had never listened to and really didn't know anything about. Not because I was afraid, because I was. Not because the voice went away, because it didn't. Not because my sons understood what I was doing, because they don't. But the wanting became louder and louder and louder than anything else. I think that's what becoming yourself actually looks like. A feeling, a refusal. That voice that said too old now says, where is she? Tanya. Watch me. Thank you.